Question. What kind of bear is best?
That's a ridiculous question.
False. Black bear. Fact. Bears eat beets.
Oh.
Bears. Beets. Battlestar Galactica.
Bears do not...
Duke, what's with the hair? You got aspirin?
You should feel better momentarily, and your memory will slowly return.
Duke, what's with the hair?
The specific...
Just birds.
Birds can be scary. Imagine a flock of a million coming to peck your eyes out with their tiny little beaks.
My car!
Yeah, Bob. You remember Bob, the guy that's gonna launch a nuclear attack? You got any more abuse you want to hurl my way? Or are you ready to go in here and take care of Bob?
What do you propose, Bob?
When in doubt, C4.
It's your favorite crazy little penguin, Bob here. And you're thinking, wait a minute, Bob. Isn't Penguin Thoughts normally on Thursdays? Yeah, real life got in the way, so I decided to do Penguin Thoughts today. But we'll be back, hopefully, next week at normal time on Thursday, which is actually going to also be Halloween. And we'll have the Penguin Thoughts Halloween special. Anyway, before we get started, as you know, we should always sip them if you got them. So sip that iced coffee. I got me some caramel macchiato. Homemade, of course. Anyway, gotta stay hydrated and caffeinated. And not to mention, most people don't know this, but penguins actually live off of iced coffee. It flows through our veins in our body. Why do you think we can tolerate the cold so much? Because we can have an internal cold all the time because of iced coffee. Who knew, right? Yep, that's where the first Starbucks was. It was up in Antarctica or down in Antarctica. I always get my directions mixed up. Anyway, let's get into it. We got several things to talk about today. You have hi Tracy. She has a hot, fresh cuppa. Yeah, everybody likes the coffee their own way, and that's perfectly fine as long as you're caffeinated. I prefer mine cold. Anyway, we're going to talk about some things that are happening in Disney. Oh my goodness, that company just constantly stays in the limelight. Not for good reasons, though, either. And then also some other cool things I wanted to share. And even some things that I'm going to be playing later on in all next week for the holiday Halloween stuff, video game-wise, over on Twitch and also on YouTube. But before that, I wanted to share a little meme from one of my favorite Christian music artists, David Crowder. Now, I love his music, but even more, I love his sense of humor. So let me switch over and I'll show you what I'm talking about here. He posted this and I busted a gut when I saw this. Pineapple on pizza? Comment yes. Check mark for yes or X for no. An Italian is forced to watch the first time pineapple is added to a pizza. Brooklyn, New York, 1924. And that is so cruel and unusual punishment, I tell you. I don't know about you, but this little penguin likes his pizza pineapple free. Pineapple is a dessert item to me. And if it was a dessert pizza, then yeah, I could go for it. But on a regular pizza, nah, no. I mean, I know people like Hawaiian pizza, but if that's the case, I pick off the pineapple, eat it later, and just eat it with the bacon or Canadian bacon or what's called ham here in the stateside. Anyway, I just thought I'd share that. That was funny. So let's get into our first topic here. Some news in Marvel world. Actually, this is Sony Marvel. One of the things I've been noticing also is recently that Disney is kind of going through, I think, identity changes. Not because I know that Star Wars and Lucasfilm has still kind of leaning into the identity politics and DEI stuff and the LBGT alphabet stuff and all that jazz. But Marvel, I think, is starting to get fed up with that. And I think they're going back to what they know works. At least I hope that's what's happening here. And to that end, one of the things that, I mean, I could have talked about several other things as well. Like they've postponed once again the new Blade movie, which in my opinion, I think you should just bring back Wesley Snipes as Old Man Blade, and I think that type of movie would do good in the theaters. Or how the fact also that they are changing the direction things are going. The new Captain America movie has been reshot 4 different times. Not completely, but like reshoots of certain parts of it. And from what I've been hearing, the rumor is it's still bad. But I think they're trying to course correct, I hope. I could be wrong, but it'd be really nice to see Marvel get back to being, well, Marvel. The Marvel I know. So anyway, Tom Holland suits up for Spider-Man 4 to start filming the summer of 2025. So that's next year. He'll actually start filming for it. And I do know that there is a new Venom movie that came out that I've heard is actually kind of good. I want to go see it. Considering I loved the first Venom movie, not so much the second one with Carnage. They really played him differently. You could feel the identity politics in it, which I didn't really like. Because Carnage is the bad guy to Venom, who is an anti-hero anyway to Spidey. I've never really cared for the fact that they did the origin with the Venom series by Sony, that they left it out the wrong type of origin. I mean, it's close, but they left out the Spidey element of it, and I'm not sure why that is. But I do like Tom Hardy as playing Venom, or Eddie Brock. But I'm kind of wondering also, there's been talks that possibly we could get a cameo even, take this with a grain of salt, rumors, that there could be a cameo of Tom Holland's Spider-Man in a up-and-coming maybe Venom movie. I don't know about this one that's come out recently, if it's in there, or if they're just talking about they may try to do it in another movie. I don't know. Nevertheless, this is interesting. Holland expressed his excitement about the project, stating, "Next summer, we start shooting. Everything's going good to go. We're nearly there. It's super exciting. I can't wait." He later discussed the new film's concept as crazy and distinct from previous entries, suggesting it will offer fans something uniquely engaging. He shared these insights while on GMA, Good Morning America, hinting at innovative directions for the upcoming Spider-Man narrative. Further details emerged for Spider-Man 4 when Holland spoke on the Rich Roll podcast, where he revealed he and Zendaya, who returns as Michelle Jones, have already reviewed a draft of the script. It needs work, but the writers are doing a great job. I read it in 3 weeks ago. I read it 3 weeks ago, and it really lit a fire in me, Holland noted. He described their reaction to the script as very animated, adding Zendaya, who plays MJ, and I sat down, read it together, and we at times were bouncing around the living room. That's kind of good to hear that maybe, I mean, Sony doesn't seem to always, I don't know with Sony, where they stand with all this DEI stuff and everything. Because 1 minute I think they're not, the next minute they put out something like a game or something that's completely full of that. I don't understand it. I really don't. But I'm hoping that they still continue to do Spidey correct. Because out of all the Marvel characters in all of Marvel Universe, Spidey's my favorite. I have loved Spider-Man since I've been a little tiny gosling. And I do not want to see them do Spidey wrong. Matter of fact, the last Spider-Man movie I thought was so good, seeing Andrew Garfield and Tom Holland and also Tobey Maguire all on the same screen together as different variants of Spider-Man, the Spider-Verse. I think that's so cool. I love that movie. I got to go watch that again now. Anyway, there's some good news possibly happening. Maybe good, maybe bad. It kind of depends on the direction that Sony and Marvel decide to take things. But I'm hoping that this is something good. The next story is, we're shifting gears here a little bit. And your oldest is a big Spidey fan? Yeah. I've always been kind of weird in that, because those that know me, I'm highly arachnophobic. But I love Spider-Man. I don't know why that is, but I always have. I think the appeal to me with Spidey was always been that Spidey didn't ask to be a superhero. It was thrust upon him, and that the words of Uncle Ben ring in his ears daily, and that he takes it seriously, that with great power comes great responsibility. I love that about Spidey, that he's just an ordinary guy that ended up in this extraordinary situation, and he's trying to do the best he can to juggle things going on in his life and also be the hero that he feels like Uncle Ben would want him to be. Because he sees Aunt May and Uncle Ben as kind of like his parents in a way, because his real parents, died. And they kind of raised him. Matter of fact, I love the fact in the original Spider-Man movies with Tobey Maguire that they actually show that origin, that Uncle Ben is kind of the reason why Spidey becomes Spidey. Because he took those words to heart, that with great power comes great responsibility. He was starting out, if you remember in that movie, he was starting out doing wrestling to try to earn money. He could have made this very selfish. I could have made this to where it wasn't super hero, but you saw the transformation of him in that movie. And you've even seen that with Tom Holland's Spider-Man, the transformation of him, that he's realizing his responsibility and his role as Spidey, that he's more than just Peter Parker, that he has responsibilities to do the best he can to take this power that's been given him and use it responsibly for good. I love that about Spidey. I've always loved that about Spidey. Anyway, you can get me talking about Spidey. I'll talk about Spidey all day long. He's always been my go-to comic book to go back to. I love the Spider-Man series, all the different Spider-Man variants as well. I even love, playing the Marvel Spider-Man video game that came out a number of years ago that they made a sequel to, which I've not played, and I doubt I will, because everything I saw about it went 100% woke, and I'm not into that. But nevertheless, rambling Bob, it's what I do. Okay, next story. I found this very interesting. Mel Gibson scouting. Oh, I need to turn off my filter on this one. There we go. There's a report out there, Mel Gibson scouting film locations in Malta for the Passion of the Christ sequel. So there's going to be another Passion of the Christ movie come out. And I kind of figured there would be at some point. Obviously, if you've seen the first one, the very last thing we saw was Jesus coming out of the tomb. So obviously I assume that this new sequel will probably pick up where that left off. I really like the Passion of the Christ. I can't watch it whenever I want, because I always wind up being about halfway through, especially during the part where Christ is being crucified. I'm a blubbering idiot. I can't stop crying every single time I see this movie. It brings me to tears, thinking that my own personal sin is what caused Jesus to be up on the cross. This movie really brings it home for me. It really does. And I normally watch it around Easter time. But it's cool to see that Mel Gibson is not letting the backlash that he got after releasing The Passion of the Christ slow him down. Because basically when he released that, he got blacklisted in Hollywood as a Christian ideologue, and which I think is wrong, but nevertheless, it got him to where people could no longer they no longer wanted to make Mel Gibson movies. Because if you remember, he was an action hero. I mean, he was like in tons of, I mean, everything from Mad Max to Lethal Weapon, you name it. For the longest time, Mel Gibson was a superstar actor. But when this came out, it kind of, and I'm glad, good for him that he did this, because he felt like he needed to do this for God and for Jesus. And that's why he made this. And the fact that he made it, and the way his career, regardless of how his acting career turned out, he has, I think it's good on him that he's not letting that slow him down, that he's still doing it, doing a second one. Since it was revealed back in 2016, almost a decade ago, that Gibson was working on a sequel to The Passion of the Christ, with Randall Wallace informing The Hollywood Reporter that he has begun to write a script for a story about the resurrection, telling The Hollywood Reporter that the project is being too difficult to keep under wraps. Wallace said at the time, "I always wanted to tell this story. The Passion is the beginning, and there's a lot more story to tell." Well, yeah, it's the greatest story ever told. The story of Jesus Christ, our Savior, and how he stepped down out of heaven, wrapped himself in human flesh, and died for us on a cross when it wasn't his job or role to do that. He had no sin, and he took the sins of the world on him when he did that. And he did it not for any other reason, but because he loves us. Nails did not keep him on that cross. His love for us did. And I love the fact that there are people out like Mel Gibson and Angel Studios, for example, that are doing projects like this, that are 100% representing Christ the way he should be represented in God's word. Gibson would provide more details about the project during an interview with Greg Laurie, where he revealed the working title would be called The Resurrection. And by the way, these videos are on YouTube, which I'm not going to play these, but obviously, as always, I put links to all my articles and videos down in the description of this live stream. So if you want to go check out these additional videos and watch these interviews like the one with Greg Laurie, you can go and do that and see what actually they were saying about all this. I think it's cool that they're going to call it The Resurrection. Probably maybe The Resurrection of the Christ, or The Resurrection of Christ. Who knows? Either way, it does sound like to me that it's actually going to be picking up where it left off from. So, there you go. And we're going to switch gears again. But before we do that, let's do this.
You're listening to Penguin Thoughts. These are the thoughts that penguins are thinking when they were thinking that they were thinking about the thoughts they were thinking when they were thinking them. That is, we think.
Okay, let's get into news about Disney. Shocker. The House of Mouse is always in the news lately. Last several years. A lot of times for the stupid stuff they're doing. Burning money like it grows on trees. Constantly pushing their political views and preaching in all their content to everybody that, you need to go woke, you need to buy into this identity, DEI stuff. You need to really just embrace the alphabet community and all this stuff. So anyway, there is this came out actually just 4 days ago. Oh, excuse me. There is a major shakeup at Disney. Board chair is out. New CEO is coming soon. Now, that's a little misleading, this thing. CNN's reporting this. I think what it really is, Bob Iger, when he came in to take over for Bob Chapek, he claimed he was only going to be there for maybe like a couple of years to right the ship, supposedly, which he obviously didn't do, at least in my opinion, and to more or less hand over the reins after that point. Well, guess what? In 2023, that didn't happen when he got renewed for another 2 years. So quite literally, Bob Iger is still the CEO until 2025. So Disney's board was looking at what their options are here to, let me try to zoom in so you can read it a little bit better, to what they're going to do after Bob Iger is gone. Because this headline makes you think, well, he's been ousted, and yes and no. He was already going to leave even before 2023. But when he got asked to stay another 2 years, he said yes. So I don't know at this point if this is a good thing or a bad thing, because the guy that replaced him, I don't know much about. Let's get into it. Let's read the article here and talk about it. CNN, Disney is about to have its 4th board chair in just over 3 years, as the company continues to navigate ongoing tumult in the media industry. Chairman Mark Parker will step down at the end of the year, the company announced Monday. Morgan Stanley CEO James Gorman will replace Parker starting in 2025. I am honored and humbled to have the opportunity to serve as Disney's chairman at this important moment in the company's history, Gorman stated in a statement. Now, see, I don't know who James Gorman is, other than was Morgan Stanley's CEO. Parker, a board member for 9 years, just stepped into the chairmanship role last year, replacing Susan Arnold, who held the role for just over a year until her term expired. Arnold had served on Disney's board for a decade and a half. Among the decisions, Gorman will be tasked with replacing Bob Iger as CEO. So he's not only going to be the chairman of the board, but he's also going to be the CEO. Because if you remember correctly, Bob Iger, when he came back took over for Bob Chapek, he got put in as the chairman of the board and CEO. But then he stepped down as chairman, but he's still CEO right now. Bob Iger is. They had Susan Arnold come in, and now they replaced Susan Arnold with, what's his name? Mark Parker. And I think the reason why they brought in Mark Parker, because I heard this on a Valiant Renegade video. Shout out to Valiant Renegade. Talked about that Mark Parker was brought in because Disney thought they could try to make inroads into bringing their content back to like China and the Middle East over there that does not want really anything to do with Marvel content, especially. And it's because you got to think about this. America right now is really the only country in all the world that's really gone woke bad. There's some over in Europe, but not to the extent that we are in the Middle East and China. They are not that way. The Japanese are not that way as well. We are a country that's weird, in my opinion. But nevertheless, Bob Iger here being CEO, if you don't realize the importance of this, he's the leader of Disney, and pretty much the buck does stop with Bob Iger and the board. And up until now, the board has been kind of going along with what Iger says about things. Matter of fact, I listened to the shareholder meeting earlier this year, and I thought for sure that the shareholders and the board were going to do something about Iger, and instead they just continued to embrace him. I don't know whether or not Gorman is going to be a better choice or not, but I almost feel like since they're bringing in somebody from Morgan Stanley, that financially they're hoping maybe that Disney can start being a profitable company, because they are not, and they haven't been for a few years now. Because just like you ever heard the phrase, go woke, go broke? Well, Disney is slowly going broke. Yes, they have a lot of money, but most of that's been coming from their amusement parks, and they are losing people going to them, especially with Universal coming out, which is a much better experience. I haven't been to either one, but that's things I've been seeing and hearing in the media. Nevertheless, continuing on with the article here. Parker, when he was announced, said replacing Iger would be among his top priorities. Instead, Parker and the board quickly renewed Iger's contract through 2026. Although, I think I said 2025, or I mean 2026 then, I guess. Although Iger said he would not stay longer than 2 years in his latest stint at the company. The extension meant that he will serve as CEO in his second go-around for at least 4 years. Gorman currently serves as the chair of Disney's Succession Planning Committee, which is responsible for the CEO search. But that has proven difficult as Disney navigates choppy waters. The movie industry is slipping as people increasingly stream shows and films online, but Disney's streaming business only just recently became profitable. Yeah, Disney Plus has been since it launched, been kind of a massive failure. It's not really been all that profitable, and I think it's only been recent that it has been in some areas, but that's because of other content that's on their platform now. Stuff from Hulu, stuff from ESPN, ABC, not just Disney content. Anyway, the board and Succession Planning Committee have heard from investors that proving more specificity to the succession process was important to them, according to a person familiar with the matter. The committee, after evaluating where they were in the process, determined that an early 2026 announcement date would provide enough time to find Iger's successor. Disney Entertainment co-chairs Dana Walden and Alan Bergman, ESPN chairman Jimmy Pitaro, and Disney Experiences chairman Josh D'Amaro are all said to be in the running for CEO position, although Disney said that the committee and board continue to review internal candidates and external candidates. Meanwhile, Disney, in its latest earnings report, announced somewhat lackluster spending from visitors to its U.S. parks. That's what I was talking about just a minute ago, which the company chalked up to the jitters about the economy. Well, that does play into this, I would think, but also people are starting to wise up. They don't want their kids exposed to the things that Disney is pushing. Sing, trans hour at the local library reading to kids. Come on. You got to know that doesn't sit well with every parent out there. Actually, the vast majority of parents in America, that doesn't sit well. Anyway, replacing Iger. In announcing his seemingly almost imminent departure from Disney, Iger has become the CEO who cried wolf. Iger, in his first stint as Disney CEO, renewed his contract multiple times, bucking promises to step down, until he finally did a month before the pandemic swept the globe. And I think that was planned, so he didn't actually have to be kind of the fall guy during the pandemic. shutting down the world's businesses, including Disney. Replacing Iger in early 2020 was another Bob Chapek, whose disastrous tenure at Disney was marred by strategic missteps and PR disasters. Actually, I think he's the one that Iger kind of threw under the bus. Chapek didn't last 3 years on the job, replacing him Iger, who in late 2022 promised he'd step down quickly just as soon as a replacement was named. Still, Iger has notched several wins during his recent stint. He helped negotiate a massive labor dispute with directors, actors, and writers. He squashed a multi-pronged boardroom battle, and he finally made Disney Plus profitable. Just barely, in my opinion, but nevertheless. But Iger has made himself indispensable, turning around Disney after a dreadful past several years. Not really, I don't think. The stock Disney has bounced back somewhat this year, and Disney is once again the darling of the traditional media companies, even though that's not exactly a group anyone wants to be a part of, as Hollywood, streaming and television struggle to contend with TikTok, YouTube, especially, and the biggest direct rival of them all, Netflix. Iger now says he's done fixing things and is focused on building the Disney of the future. That's double speak for, I want people that are going to come in here and continue my legacy. So I don't know how things are going to go with Gorman, but Disney's troubles are not over. They're far from it, actually. Because I don't know if you saw this recently or not, but Gina Carano scores another big win in Elon Musk-backed lawsuit against Disney and The Mandalorian. Go Gina, baby. Yeah. She even got a shout out the other night by Trump in one of his speeches, which was kind of cool. Because I think things are shifting. I'm seeing it. Actress and former UFC fighter Gina Carano has scored another win in the Elon Musk-backed lawsuit against Disney over her firing from Star Wars series The Mandalorian. And I'm not going to read this whole thing, but we are going to watch a video by Drunk 3PO, who kind of is in the know with Gina. He knows her very, very well. Basically, if you don't know the whole gist of it, you need to go back and you can watch several of my previous podcasts and even a video I've got on what happened when it first broke out a couple of years ago, that she was fired from The Mandalorian through social media. And for some posts that I don't feel like were racist in nature, it was more like, I saw it as more like, if you don't pay attention to history, you're doomed to repeat it type of thing, which is a true statement. Because if you don't learn from your mistakes, we're taught that as kids growing up. If you don't learn from your mistakes, you're doomed to repeat them. I think it's interesting that during this whole mess, that people like Pedro Pascal and Mark Hamill and even what's his name? I forgot his name already. Somebody else that worked at Disney that made all these different little racist posts on X as well. At that time, Twitter, before Elon came in, and they were more racist in their comments, but yet nothing happened to them. But Gina was summarily fired. Anyway, let's watch the details about Gina Carano's huge win against the lawsuit going against Disney. The lawsuit's still going on, but this is a new direction it's going. It's kind of cool. So here we go. And this is by Drunk 3PO. Link is actually down in the description. Shout out to Jay, Drunk 3PO. I like Jay. He's a good guy.
We have an update. on the Gina Carano verse Disney Lucasfilm Kathleen Kennedy lawsuit about her firing?
Oh, let me turn on my filter because that normally says Potato Kennedy. And Tracy likes to take a sip of iced coffee every time you hear the word Potato Kennedy.
We have an update on the Gina Carano.
Okay, wait a minute. Here we go. So get ready, Tracy. Get your coffee ready.
Carano verse Disney Lucasfilm Kathleen Kennedy lawsuit.
Potato Kennedy
about her
I'm
firing.
sipping.
Apparently Disney was a little upset that the current judge dismissed their appeal, so they decided to go around and get another one. Listen, if you're new here, we've been covering this case. We've been covering the Gina Carano story. So why not hit the subscribe button? I will keep you up to date on every little detail that comes out. Thank you for subscribing. Now let's get into this.
Yeah, I encourage you, if you haven't, you can go subscribe to Junk 3PO. And, of course, while you're at it, why don't you subscribe to me? Because I've also been covering this Gina Carano Disney lawsuit a number of different times on this podcast. The latest thing was that Disney tried to get the case completely dismissed, and the judge wasn't having it. He saw right through what they were doing, basically because Disney is really afraid of what's going to happen in the discovery, where they have to give all their documents and emails, behind the scenes stuff that they were talking about in regards to the firing of Gina Carano. It's not going to shed a good light on Disney, and I think they're afraid of that, and they just want it to go away. Well, I'm glad that it's not. I'm glad Gina, and especially Elon Musk, who's chosen to back her with this, to fight this lawsuit, to fight this injustice, to fight this cancel culture that Disney is promoting. It's just awesome to see, and that the things are still going forward. So you keep fighting, Gina. Keep fighting for this. Anyway, this penguin's got your back.
Gina Carano just posted this on her social media. It says, update. After the judge denied Disney's request to dismiss my case, Disney requested permission to immediately appeal that decision to the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals and delay
of course
all
they
discovery while that appeal takes place. Well, yesterday, October 16th, 2024.
Yeah, so this has been a little bit back. I meant to cover this like last week, but I wasn't able to do Penguin Thoughts, so now we're talking about it now. But I felt like this was still important enough that I want to discuss it.
We learned that the judge denied Disney's unusual request. Well,
yes.
they can't escape this one. They can't escape it. They thought they had an open shut. Hey, we could do whatever we want. The courts in California see something. They see something of shenanigans and stuff going on. They see something that they're like, no, this has got to move forward. This ain't right.
Yeah, which is kind of wild to see. First off, California courts seeing this. One of the most liberal states in the union. And the fact that they're even seeing that something's not right here, that speaks volumes to this whole thing that Disney, what they did with Gina Carano, what they did to her in her firing. The fact that a very liberal type court system over in California is seeing through this, that speaks volumes. And I'm loving it. I'm loving seeing this. Disney got their hand caught in the cookie jar, and now Mama is not letting it get away. Sorry, Disney. You messed up, and now you're being taken to task. Showing that justice can win in this still in this country. It's awesome.
This thing is heading to discovery, and boy, they're not going to like people thumbing through their files. Huh,
no, they aren't.
Kennedy. You're not going to like people thumbing through your files, are you? But here we are. Gina continues, says, I'm obviously very pleased with the opportunity to keep moving forward with the judicial process into discovery. While I wish this was not necessary, as it is not my desire to be in this battle in court,
correct,
I will not shrink any way from it because it is hard or uncomfortable.
See, this shouldn't have, this whole mess with Gina Carano and Disney shouldn't have happened in the first place. I agree with her completely on this. It should never even come to this. It shouldn't have had to come to her even having to get back by Elon Musk to take this to court. Disney shouldn't have done her the way they did.
Again, a huge thanks to all of you who have shown me support daily, to my incredible lawyer and to Elon Musk and the people at X or Twitter for the opportunity to continue this lawsuit and seeking justice. Onward.
Yes.
And here is that beautiful court document that says denied. Man, this thing is going to discovery. I bet now they might offer a settlement.
Right there. The foregoing reasons, the court denies defendant's motion. This is the, and I forgot to look that up, but I know you can actually go out there and search for this document and find it. I found all the other previous legal documents, and maybe I'll go look for it and I'll make a video out of it or something. I don't know, or I'll talk about it again next week. Because I feel like we need to keep in the know of what's going on with this, because this is crucial. One company setting a precedence to where they could just fire you for not having the same beliefs as they want you to have and do it through social media. That's just wrong. It's not right. And I love to see that the fact that they're getting called to the mat for it by the courts. Disney does not want their dirty laundry out there, but the court says, sorry, it's going to happen.
Settlement. That's my guess. That's their next step. They don't want to go to court.
Correct.
They don't want people looking through all their files and notes and emails and all that stuff. So I think the next thing they will ask for some sort of let's resolve this outside the courts, Gina. Okay? What do you want? Here's a blank check. We've got the money. We're spending hundreds of millions of dollars on shows that nobody watches. You know, at the end of the day, no matter what happens, I hope Gina Carano has closure. And whatever is decided,
right.
I hope she has closure. I hope her name is cleared.
I don't think
it'll never be cleared.
I don't think Gina per se wants money out of this. She wants her name cleared. She doesn't want to be blacklisted, because this blacklisted her. She got canceled in the world of Hollywood and so forth. I think she wants her good name back, and I agree with that. And that's something that I don't think any monetary value can give her. It'd have to be, I think she would probably, I don't know, I can't speak, I don't know her, I can't speak for what she might choose to do, but I get this feeling from her that it's not about the money, it's about getting her name back, her reputation, her honor. And that is, I was raised, that was more important than financial gain ever could be in this world. To be someone of integrity, to not have your name trashed wrongly. So I don't know what's going to happen next. I think Jay may be right here that Disney may decide to do some type of settlement, but I think ultimately, I don't think that's what Gina wants. I think she wants to actually get her name cleared. Which, if I was in her shoes, even though I am far from being a rich little penguin, I'm not even close. I'm dirt poor penguin. But But I tell you right now, they couldn't offer me any level of money that I would give up for my name and my honor, because it's something that no one has the right to take from you. It's something that God gives you. I feel it's also something that you have to consciously, daily maintain by the way you live and your actions. And I try to be a person of integrity and honor and truthfulness. And that's just something that's irreplaceable, in my opinion, in this day and age. And I hope she gets that. I hope she gets closure. I hope she gets her name cleared through all this. And in the process, if Disney gets exposed for the idiotic political identity politics company that they are, and all the stupidity that they're doing behind the scenes, great. Either way, I want the best for Gina, and I've been praying for this whole situation because I think it's wrong. And anyway, so I'm not going to watch the rest of this. You can actually watch this. It's only like 5 minutes. But because I got another video I want to show Jay's as well. But it was just basically discussing what happened, that they got denied. They tried to appeal that, and it got denied as well. So basically, we're going to discovery in this case, where Disney wants it to happen or not. The only choice they have at this point now is to try to come to some agreement with Gina. And I don't know. I can't speak for her, obviously. I don't know what she's going to choose to do, but I hope she chooses the high road, which I think she's going to, with this. And I also I hope that Disney gets exposed for the bad actor that they are. Anyway, continuing on with more Disney craziness, especially the Lucasfilm side of things. One moment, I need to blow my snaz. I got allergies. And I don't want to do it in your ear, so I'm going to mute real quick. All right. It seems as if Lucasfilm, Disney Star Wars, just is not learning the lesson. With the cancellation of The Acolyte not getting a season 2, and how badly that show did, is actually the worst rating show so far on Disney Plus. Worse than the Marvels movie, you name it, is the bottom of the list. But look at this. Disney hasn't learned from this. It's like they just keep doing the same thing over and over again, not learning from their mistakes. And to be honest with you, that's kind of the definition of insanity, isn't it? Doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting different results. Hello, people don't want your woke content. They don't want to watch it. They don't want to read about it. They don't want to hear about it. They just want good Star Wars, a good Marvel, or good Disney shows. I mean, a good example that I haven't seen it yet, but there was massive reviews of Disney's Pixar's release of Inside Out 2, which isn't woke. It's just a good animated film, and people went and took their kids to see it. It did very well in the movie theaters. And you would think Disney would get the hint that people don't want this. They don't want to be preached at. They just want to watch something that's immersive, have a good story to it, that they can unplug from the troubles of their life on a daily basis just for an hour or two, to forget about all the stressor that life is and just enjoy a good story. That's kind of what entertainment's supposed to be. It's not supposed to be pushing an ideology or almost a religion. So here we go. Fandom backlash after Star Wars, Disney Star Wars, not George Lucas Star Wars, introduces transgender stormtrooper. How stupid is this? I'm sorry. I'm being blunt today. How stupid are they that they think people want this? I have been a Star Wars fan all my life, and 100% I can say this has got to be next to the second episode of The Acolyte. This has got to be one of the stupidest decisions that Star Wars has made. The Disney Star Wars has made. Come on. Who in their right mind cares about this stuff? Why is that even a thing in Star Wars? That's what I don't understand. It's supposed to be in a galaxy far, far away, in a completely different culture that's foreign to our own, but yet they're pushing our current pop culture into the content. That's not Star Wars. Disney, are you that thick that you won't change what you're doing to understand? People don't want modern day politics in their good stories. They just want a good Star Wars story, not being told about some transgender stormtrooper named Sister. Sorry, it just really gets me upset. The inclusion of a transgender character in the latest Star Wars project has ignited mixed reactions from the fan base. The new book, Star Wars: The Secrets of the Clone Wars, introduced readers to Sister, a stormtrooper who expressed her gender identity differently than her fellow troopers. Really? Right in the middle of a war. Clone Wars. That's what it's called. This is a thing? I don't think so. First off, it clearly to me shows that Disney has no clue what Star Wars really is, which we kind of knew that already. But more importantly, they have no clue what a good story is or about how war actually happens. This is not a thing that would happen in a real war. This would be the least important thing to light. What's going to matter about the war? Oh, I don't know. Maybe people not dying. Maybe people not getting hurt. Tactics. Keeping your troops safe, fed, and still able to fight. And also finding a way to bring it in, a peaceful way to end that war. Even in Star Wars, the Clone Wars was this way. It wouldn't be about gender identity. So it just, I don't get this. Many fans expressed outrage, with some suggesting that the character's image looked artificially created, while others accused the franchise of becoming woke. Well, hello, yeah, they've been woke for quite a while. What happened? Oh, prompts. Okay. It says that despite the backlash, Sister is not a new character. I know. She made her first appearance in the 2022 book, Queen's Hope, fighting alongside Anakin Skywalker and Obi-Wan Kenobi during the Clone Wars. While some fans are upset, others have embraced Sister's inclusion. Not me. Praising both her character design and the growing diversity within the Star Wars universe. Supporters have celebrated the franchise move towards inclusivity, even though parts of the fan base are known for their toxic reactions to change. Sister's return in the Star Wars canon highlights the ongoing conversations surrounding representation in media and its impact on passionate fan communities. Well, Disney Star Wars has been dead for a long time, and Disney's just kicking the dead horse down the street and won't let it die. And they just keep finding new ways to make things weird, right? Painting the rainbow on the horse's dead head. That's what this is. So let's hear what Jay's got to say about it. Let me refresh.
Breaking. Star Wars unveils first transgender clone trooper named Sister. Captain Rex said of Sister that she expressed her gender identity differently than her fellow troopers, and she'd have to hide who she truly was inside. So they gave her the name Sister as a constant reminder that she belonged. That's right. In the new book coming out, The Secrets of the Clone Troopers, they kind of introduced Sister, a trans trooper decorated in the trans flag. You gotta love the escapism, right?
See Jay's sarcasm there? I agree with this 100%. You gotta love the escapism, right? That's not escapism when they're constantly pushing this ideology, putting modern day pop culture stuff into it. Woke, in other words. That's not escapism. They just keep doing this. They won't stop. Stupid potato Kennedy.
Hey, where's the Free Palestine clone trooper? Where's the Black Lives Matter clone trooper?
Exactly.
Let's get all the flags on there, man, and decorate them in today's political climate flags. That's what we need. How about the Trump 2024 clone trooper and decorate it in like MAGA red? What about all that stuff? Can we just have it all? You know, since you just want to throw escapism right out the door. Let's just be done with it. Right out the door. Well, I got news for you, libs of TikTok. This does not unveil Sister. She's been around for... Oh, wait. He's been... They? What is the proper pronouns?
I don't know. I haven't figured it out either, Jay. So it's like he's a guy that's acting like a girl that's acting that I don't know. It's supposed to be a clone trooper. Does it really matter? No. It's fiction. Why does this stuff need to be in it?
Let me know in the comment section below. I don't want to upset anybody. But let's just say this. This transgender trooper has been around for a few years. And just because of this book, people are starting to notice. Now, let me give you all the details because I'm sure you really want to know what's going on with Sister. But before we do that, please do me a favor and hit the subscribe button. It's a free thing that you could do that helps out the channel.
You gotta love the grift.
I really appreciate it. Now let's get into it. Star Wars Sister, the transgender clone. I don't know why I cut that article off like that. I did a horrible job in editing. Listen, I just went
It's
through a
all good,
hurricane,
Jay.
Back making videos. Look at when this article was published. June 25th of 2023. That's because this clone trooper was featured in 2 books that you probably didn't read. And
yeah, I didn't read any of these books, and I ain't gonna read the new one coming out either. Forget this. I don't like any of modern day Disney Star Wars. None of it. I think the only movies that they produced I even cared for was I did like I'm drawing a blank now. I didn't sip enough iced coffee. I need more iced coffee to think. Okay, let me sip and then I can answer. Okay. Sorry, I had a little brain fart stuff there. I liked Rogue One. I did like The Force Awakens when it came out, but that's because it's kind of like a modern repeat of Star Wars. Well, now you call Star Wars A New Hope, but basically Episode 4. I did also like Mandalorian Season 1 and 2. Hated 3. I don't know what the Mandalorian and Grogu movie is going to be like. I do know that there is a rumor out there that, and I don't know if it's happened or not. I think I read an article on it somewhere. Jon Favreau is being kind of asked to try to save Star Wars, but I'm thinking that's never truly going to happen long as Potato Kennedy is there. Good old Kathleen Kennedy, the stupid woman that thinks the Force is female. Ugh. She actually thought The Acolyte was a good show to do. I just don't understand it. It shows to me that she's totally clueless when it comes to what Star Wars is supposed to be. More importantly, totally clueless to what the fans want. They don't care about fans. All they care about is pushing their ideology. And I'm afraid nobody's going to be able to save Disney Star Wars until that woman is gone. Absolutely no longer a potato, but turn her into julienne fries, throw her in the cooker, and let them sit in the grease-filled bucket of used French fries for the rest of her days. So she has no effect on current Star Wars. I wish her well, but she can be gone. And I would be happy about it. Anyway, this stuff just keeps getting worse and worse, in my opinion. It's like they just don't learn.
They had Anakin Skywalker, of all people, basically seal it, saying, yes, you're allowed to be transgender in Star Wars. Oh, I'll show you that. I'll show you that expert from the book. I just can't get over the fact that they decorated whatever, I don't know, man, in the trans flag.
Yeah.
That is just
how stupid can that be?
I just can't believe they did that. It's supposed to be in a galaxy far, far away. It's supposed to be escapism.
Exactly. See, right there, Jay gets it. This makes no sense. Are you telling me that woke is everywhere in the galaxy? That it's in a galaxy far, far away? That they have woke and political identity politics? Are you that stupid and thick-headed to think that? Yes, they are. I just don't get it. Because this is fiction. The galaxy was meant to be completely foreign to us. That's kind of the allure of Star Wars. That this is nothing like our current modern day society, or even back when, Star Wars first came out back in the 70s. It was not meant to be anything close to what our lives are on a day-to-day basis. It's not supposed to have any of that. I mean, come on. They drank blue milk. Who drinks blue milk? Not until after Star Wars came out did we ever drink blue milk. Look it up. Blue milk wasn't a thing until after Star Wars. Yeah, right, Tracy. It'll just keep getting worse. It'll just keep getting worse until the people that are in charge of all this go away. Anyway. I don't know why I still care. I shouldn't. I am so, there's times to where I'm just so ambivalent to this, so numb to it, but yet it still sometimes just sticks in my craw, and I can't get it. And, penguins don't crawl, they waddle. So, it really, it's like having gum on your shoe. You just want it. You may be able to deal with it for a little while, but you got to get it off your shoe before it drives you nuts. Anyway, I ain't gonna watch the rest of this. You can if you want to. And actually, this brings me to my very last subject. What I'm going to be doing for this is a shorter Penguin Thoughts this week. It was going to be a shorter one yesterday. Just real life got in the way, and but I want to talk about what I'm going to be doing on Twitch starting next week. No Man's Sky, as you know, is one of my all-time favorite games. This penguin loves going into space and flying around in a spaceship. And I've been playing this game for coming up on almost 7 years or something like that. I'd have to look and see how many years I've played it. I've played it for a very long time. And Wednesday, Sean Murray and his development crew released a new update called The Cursed. It actually adds, I haven't looked to see if it does, adds a new expedition called The Cursed. Basically, it's a spooky space adventure in time for Hollywood. Now, I am someone that does not like scary movies. I don't like scary video games. I wasn't sure what I'm always at a loss what to stream around this time of year, because I don't really get into Halloween all that much, other than maybe Charlie Brown's special, like It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. I like that. I also sometimes watch Scooby-Doo during this time period, but that's the closest I get to watching something scary. And for me to play a scary video game, I was thinking about playing the Ghostbusters game, the old one, the one that has the original Ghostbusters in it. But instead, I think I'm going to play this because I really love No Man's Sky, and I'm going to stream it. For those who don't know, I stream on Monday, Tuesdays, and sometimes Thursday nights on Twitch and my YouTube gaming channel, one of my Bob's LAN party. And I'm going to be playing this next week instead. So I hope that maybe you'll decide to check it out with me, and we will check it out how spooky it is. I hope it's not real scary, because if so, I don't know if I can play with holding my flippers up up to my eyes and be able to see through my flippers, because they're not like fingers. You can't see through them. So there you have it, campers. All my little rants about what's going on, especially about Disney. As always, Disney really gets me upset about things. I get, especially about Star Wars. I'm just so fed up with them doing the same old junk that they're doing all the time. I just wish they'd stop. I'm just tired of it. I have no interest in it. But I miss Star Wars. I miss Lucas's Star Wars, which I believe that sometimes Jon Favreau was able to tap in a little bit to that feel of Star Wars. I miss that. I think that's part of the problem. I still have this longing to get into the Star Wars universe. And when I see more and more of this stuff that still just keeps happening by Disney, them not getting a clue to what their audience is, and getting to a very, very small, maybe 1 or 2% of the whole Star Wars fan base, it's stupid. And that fan base is not there for any other thing other than they like the political ideology that's being pushed. They're not true Star Wars fans, so why are you catering to them? No wonder your shows and your movies and everything around that franchise have been tanking for several years. The massive amount of money they spent, over $300 million, I think, per episode of The Acolyte. To put that amount of money in it for it to be the worst show that they've had on Disney Plus. Hello? do you like just flushing money down the tubes? Because that's exactly what you're doing. It's what you've been doing. To me, it doesn't make sense, especially in this economy when people are having struggles with just being able to eat or to have gas in their cars. It's just insane to see a company that's got money to burn because they want to push an ideology instead of trying to be profitable. I just don't get it. It irks me. And there I went again ranting. As usual, I try not to let this stuff get to me, but by golly, it sticks in my feathers, ruffles it up, and makes me want to, like, invoke my fight or flight defense. And if you haven't noticed, I'm a flightless bird, so you do the math. Fight or flight. And I can't fly. So which option do you think it's going to be? Anyway, enough rambling by this penguin. And Tracy, I knew she was going to say that before too long. Rambling Bob. Well, there you go. Either way, I hope something you got out of this today helps you. If not, to keep you maybe informed, because you're not going to get this stuff from the mainstream news media. They are so out of touch, and they're telling a narrative instead of just reporting the truth. I'm just sharing this stuff. Take it for what it's worth. Don't take my word for it. I encourage you to go find this stuff out for yourself. And I would encourage any of your comments or discussion you want on this. Feel free to leave them down in the comments down below. And if you like the stuff this little penguin was talking about, or just the fact that I love iced coffee, then I encourage you to subscribe and to give me a like on this channel, because it really helps me. And more importantly, it's so that I know that you're out there listening to me. Anyway, this little penguin is going to go slap some fish because they're rising up again. Stupid fish Armageddon. They're constantly plotting. This time, they want to go around painting everything polka dotted. For whatever reason, I don't know. Stupid fish. They're about as dumb as Disney is. Anyway, I will catch you later, because I'm the crazy little penguin named What About Bob, and I'm out the window because the door is shut and apparently being painted polka dot by stupid fish trying to rise up. Grab your fish, people. We got to take them down. Later, peeps. Have a good one.